Hello, and welcome to A Reader's Paradise. I'm your host, Earl Sewell. This is a great place to hang out if you love hearing literature performed for you, as well as hearing author interviews. Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of my podcast. And this podcast, I will once again be sharing from my upcoming novel entitled Lenny Gray. The book is scheduled to be released later this month, which is February of 2018, both as a digital ebook and as an audiobook. Just so that you know, the audiobook is still being processed and should be available very soon. So, Lenny Gray, what can I say about this book? Lenny Gray is a work of historical fiction that takes place between 1918 and 1951. One of the and exciting things about my journey of writing this book is that when writing historical fiction, I had the opportunity to infuse real-life historical events and real-life historical figures into the story to give the story a sense of authenticity and richness. And so one of the things about writing this book, or one of the elements in the book that I explore a little bit, is blues music. Since the story takes place in the American South at the turn of the century, or about 100 years ago, blues music was really, really big, and there were a lot of blues singers who came through that era. And one of the blues singers from Mississippi was a gentleman by the name of Sonny Boy Williamson. And so in this episode, I'm going to share a excerpt of where Sonny Boy Williamson, who happens to be a traveling blues man, stops and has a conversation with my main character, Lenny Gray. I think that's all I'll say about that part for now. But I will mention that in the novel, there are other historical figures and events that are mentioned that are intermingled into the story. For example, there's references to Jesse Owens, Joe Louis, the Harlem Renaissance, the stock market crash, and the Second World War, just to name a few. So, without further delay, here is an excerpt from Lenny Gray. Before we begin, let's take a deep breath. That feels great. Let's start our story. Early Sunday morning, Lenny Gray was making a pallet on the front porch of her shanty for her son, Roosevelt, whom she'd given birth to. Lenny Gray's plans for the day was to wash her clothes and the clothes of others that she took in to make extra money. Once Roosevelt was situated, she took one of the large quilts and submerged it in a tub of water and began the task of cleaning it. She had just finished washing the quilt and was hanging it on a clothesline when an unfamiliar voice startled her. "How you doing this fine morning?" She heard a voice ask from the opposite side of the quilt. Startled, she pulled back the quilt to see which neighbor had come by. The person she saw standing there was a man. He was wearing slacks, a suit jacket, a straw hat, and carrying a suitcase. "Fine, and yourself?" Lenny Gray greeted him, sensing the man was friendly and meant no harm. He looked to be around Curly's age, and he was just a little shorter.
"I could use some water if you got some,"
said the man. "I got plenty of pump water. It's brown in color and don't taste all that good. But if you're thirsty, I suppose it'll do the trick," said Lenny Gray, moving back to the porch and placing more laundry in the tub of water.
"I expect pump water'll do just fine,"
said the man, half smiling and revealing most of his teeth were missing. Over the years, Lenny Gray also lost several of her teeth, and as a result, she didn't smile much, and when she did on occasion through laughter, she covered her mouth with her hand. "Willie," Lenny Gray called to her son.
"Huh?"
"Bring a jar of that pump water out here," Lenny Gray instructed. "You ain't from around here."
"No, ma'am. Just passing through this side of town. My family live on the other side. Ain't too far from here. I'm only staying for a little while, and then I'll be heading up to Harlem to record a record,"
said the man, setting the suitcase down. "Is that right?" Lenny Gray said curiously as she gave him her undivided attention. "Where you coming from?"
"Money, Mississippi. You ever been up there to Harlem?"
"Who, me? No. I've been around here for a long time. Before that, I was in Alabama." At that moment, Willie appeared with a jar of water.
"Ma, who he?"
Willie asked. "Just a stranger passing through. Show some manners and give the man the water," Lenny Gray said. Willie stepped off the porch and handed the man the drink.
Thank you,"
he said as he took long gulps.
"Name is Sonny Boy Williamson."
"Well, it's nice to meet you, Sonny Boy. I'm Lenny Gray, and this here's my boy, Willie."
"Fine-looking young man."
Sonny Boy smiled.
"Do you know where the men folk hang around at?"
"Well, most of the men hang around the juke joint they got not too far from here, or they hang around in town. This time of day, I'd say you'd find most of the field men in town." Lenny Gray motioned in that direction.
"Well, that's where I'm headed,"
said Sonny Boy. "I thought you said you were going to see your people."
"I am. I'm just stopping where the men folks is to play a little music and hopefully make a little money so I can be on my way,"
said Sonny Boy. "Do you know how to play?" Lenny Gray asked.
"Ma'am, I've been playing music here since I was a little boy."
"Can I hear something?"
Willie asked innocently. Chuckling, Sonny Boy decided to oblige. He removed his harmonica and blew it a few times.
What you want to hear?"
"The blues. Me and my daddy like the blues. My daddy say the blues teach people about life,"
Willie said, folding his arms and waiting to hear if Sonny could play.
"Well, son, I am the right man for that,"
said Sonny Boy, who began to blow a melody and tap his foot to keep pace.
"Darling, do me a favor and keep our business to yourself. I don't want you to tell nobody. Don't mention it to nobody else. Don't tell your mama. Don't tell your daddy. Don't tell your sister. And don't mention it to your brother. Oh, darling, please keep our business to yourself."
"Ma, why you smiling like that?"
Willie asked, noticing his mother snapping her fingers on one hand while covering her mouth with the other. He looked at the stranger and then back at Lenny Gray. It was then that Sonny Boy stopped. "That's a mighty good plan. You made me smile. I ain't had no reason to do a smile like that in a long time," Lenny Gray admitted.
"Well, around these parts ain't really much to smile about, I reckon,"
said Sonny Boy, taking a look around at the vastness of the fields. "Ain't that the God's truth?" Lenny Gray agreed. That was a fun read. I have to say that I have really enjoyed narrating this book and narrating all of the characters in this particular novel. I sat down and I counted how many voices I had to do for this book, and there were 39 different voices that I had to come up with. But I truly enjoyed the journey. And also, I can't wait for all of those of you who love listening to audiobooks to be able to download it and listen to it in its entirety. I will also let you know when you can pre-order the book or when the book's finally up for sale. If you're not a person who likes to listen to audiobooks and you prefer to read it, you can download it, pre-order it. You can pre-order it. I can speak today. You can pre-order it through Amazon.com. Until next time, happy reading.